Okay, I'm sorry about the quality of my videos. I will try and sort that out and get a better quality camera. But what I have to talk about now is important, and it is the general overarching problem that we have. The reason I think about this now is because, once again, I was using Microsoft Windows to do something, and it reminded me, because I saw some other nonsense which is the result of the people at Microsoft ruining Windows. That the other day I had looked up a solution to a problem that Windows had caused just through its poor design, and I found that someone else had written, among the thousands of other people who've written such comments, that they had also noted that recent releases of Windows were infantilizing, pompous, and other such adjectives. And it is. Now, this is part of a bigger problem. The intention to infantilize everybody is an intention to try to control them, to try to make them feel reduced in their power as individuals and society as a whole, so that people don't actually act as adults to solve problems. The intention is to try to make people dependent, to try to encourage them into a mental condition of dependence, is to try to harm their belief in their own abilities to solve problems by slowly undermining them. And feminism has been part of this agenda. I'll give you an example. Can you imagine an adult walking into a bank 50 years ago and there being pictures of fluffy toys everywhere to advertise that bank's services? It's impossible. But that's what's crept into marketing, especially towards involving banks, but it's in other areas as well. The first time I noticed it was back in about 2008, 2009, maybe 2010, when banks who had been targeted by people rightfully with anger about the worldwide financial or banking issue that had happened, the banks were using advertisements with fluffy figures in, as if to say, we're a soft toy that you can trust. That's what a bank is. And that nonsense is still going on. Where are we now? 15, 18 years later. Hang on, how far are we now? I don't know, let's say 15 years later. So this is all because there is an agenda afoot in this world, and a scummy group of people have decided that they are going to try to protect themselves by attempting to weaken other people with subtle psychological ploys, as if that's going to work. Now, it has affected some people, yeah. They've attacked everything they can, these people. They've literally sat down and decided, okay, society is based upon certain values, certain structures. We have to attack all of them. And this is a fact. These people have set about attacking all the structures of our society. The family, manhood, womanhood, children's innocence, everything. If there was an aspect of society they could attack, they have begun to attack it, and they mask what they're doing with softness, with cotton wool, pretending it's for everyone's own benefit, but it's not. This is why nothing works anymore. You can't get things that actually function. You get things which are just given to you and you'll shut up. And lip service is paid to customer service or customer complaints, such things like this. Because the whole agenda is to try to shut everyone up and treat them like children, to infantilize them. Oh, let's make everything all flashy and fluffy and distract people and treat everyone as though they're brainless. Yeah? Software will be released and the whole ethos will be, we'll do everything for you. It's all about control, because the people who are ultimately behind this want to protect themselves from the rest of the people of humanity who would just be like, no, this is garbage. if they did it openly. So they're doing it in a covert way. Right? They've tried this stuff many times before, and this time they're trying to do it in another covert way. Right? This is the problem we have on an everyday basis, and people are sitting there scratching their heads thinking, why is this happening? Well, who's behind it? Well, if you do 5 minutes of digging, you'll find out who's behind it. Right? And they've done such an effective job of protecting themselves that I am not able to speak about who it is. I just have to leave it open to the people who want to find out who it is to look. But the great thing is that all you have to do is a little bit of your own looking to find out who it is. And then you understand that they've been doing this for a long, long time. So what does that leave us with? Well, it leaves us with the situation whereby we have to do something about it. Now, I've said this before, the main thing we must do as individuals is to keep ourselves in good condition, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. We have to try our best to improve ourselves and keep ourselves in good condition so that we're able to face this problem down, because these people are devoted to undermining things which are good and wholesome and decent, whilst pretending they're not. Because if they did it overtly, they would be called out immediately. The truth is that they operate in plain sight, as it were. Alright? This is the absolute truth. Once you figure out for yourself who these people are, you'll see it, and you'll be like, oh, why didn't I see this before? And you'll be absolutely horrified at the depth of the problem. But the great thing is that because they're only working on negativity, they will never be able to control the positive. They can only ever work on the negative, whilst pretending to be positive. Okay, that's their whole thing relies upon lying. Okay, now it doesn't take many people to know the truth and to act on it to solve this problem. And these wretched people will be forced out of this situation that they've created. This is the absolute truth. This is the situation that we're faced with. That doesn't mean that ordinary people can't come up with their own problems. Sure they can. Human beings always do. But what we don't need is a specific and particular group of people who have their own agenda trying to undermine everyone else so as to weaken them so that they have an opportunity, or so that they feel that they are in power. That's what we've got. And when this thing is exposed, when it is blown wide open, these guys are in real trouble, and they know this, which is why they are focused and committed to their campaign of lying and of trying to weaken people. Now this does extend into these silly things like infantilizing people, yeah? Treating people as though there's something wrong with them all the time, trying to undermine people's self-confidence. Oh, everyone's got a psychological disorder nowadays. Everyone's got a mental health condition. What rot, what garbage. The truth is that people are different, and if there are people who have problems, it is because of the strategic, methodical undermining of society, culture, community, and family, and faith. These things have all been systematically attacked and undermined, subverted, infiltrated, and taken over. Okay? This is the absolute truth. So this has to be fixed. The great thing is when you first become aware of it. Most people know there's something up, but the second step is to do sincere, rational, intelligent investigation. Alright? And these people they know that people are going to investigate, so what they've done is they've put in place a lot of red herrings, a lot of chaff, a lot of things to try to lead people down avenues that make no sense. But if you can keep going and, retain a little bit of sensibleness, okay, try to steer away from stuff that's just really ridiculous, okay, but look at stuff that you're basically told not to look at. Okay, look at that stuff, and when you start to look at the stuff you're told not to look at, think carefully about what what's being said, how it's being said, who's saying it, and why they're saying it. Alright? And if you use your intelligence, you'll find out very quickly exactly what's going on. And you won't like it. You won't like it because you, like me, were raised on media produced by these people to protect themselves, which has made you feel that what you will learn is utterly impossible. But it's not. It's the truth. And the only reason that you haven't seen it before, or people haven't acted upon it, is because there's been this big campaign of subterfuge and lying conducted. It's hard to believe that an element of society would behave in such a way, because the average person wouldn't. They don't have any interest in doing so, but these people do have an interest in doing so, because they have to hide. Alright? Because when people realise what they're doing, these people are in serious trouble, which actually makes them rather dangerous. So we have to make sure that we are intelligent with how we deal with this problem. And the little things that bug you every day about this bigger picture problem, they are legitimate and they are true. But the root is something you have to actually become aware of and look into. And there's nothing airy-fairy or weird about it. When you look at it, when you actually understand who's behind it, you'll be like, oh, I see it now. And it'll be very clear to you. But it's astonishing, really, how close to the truth you can be whilst not being quite there. And it does take a bit of a leap of faith to say, okay, I'll look at this, or I'll give this a bit of a chance, I'll see if there's any merit to it. And if you're smart, you'll figure it out. And you'll feel very annoyed. And that's what these people know is going to happen. They know that people are going to hit the roof when they figure this all out, because it's all based on lies. And when it all falls down like a house of cards, these guys are in trouble. So, when you see stuff around you in society, in your nation, in your family, all these things which you know are wrong, the reason is because your society has been systematically poisoned to try to weaken everyone in it, so that this particular group of people I'm talking about can actually survive and operate. And once you figure out which group of people it is, it'll all make sense. You'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. And I won't need to tell you anything. The evidence will all be there for you, and you'll recognize it. These people have tried to create all of these myriad little minorities all over the place so that they can hide among them. Oh, you mustn't say anything about anyone who's a perceived minority. Oh, everyone's a victim. Because they want to hide among that number, so that when people actually recognise what they've been doing, they can say, oh no, we're just a little minority. It's quite clear what they've been doing. Because if you think about it, if you were in their position, you would have done the same thing. But we're not. So this has to be dealt with intelligently, correctly. And it starts with the individual removing themselves from the garbage that they have been exposed to, and cooling off a bit and recognizing that it was all garbage. 99% of the media we've been exposed to is poisoned. There are always elements of the entertainment media that we're exposed to, mainly, which are poisoned in some way, so as to undermine society in some way, to degrade, to make people unhappy and feel unsafe, etc., etc., to mess with their morals. Slightly, it's an insidious, nasty thing. That's how these people act. So, wake up, do a bit of research, and it'll all be made clear to you. But do it intelligently. Don't be rash, just be smart. Anyway, we're going to all have to fix this problem eventually.